Hey guys, Sort5 here with a very different video to what we normally upload, and it's the first time back in kind of 4 weeks. I think it's been about a month since we last uploaded, but we're back with our England predictions video for Euro 2021. So we've got 26-man team to choose from. We're going to go in order of position, so from goalkeeper to defender to midfielder to attacker. And then I'm going to list off a couple of players who maybe could go and maybe could have been in intention for the squad. Now, this is my squad. This isn't what I think Gareth Southgate is going to pick. This is what I would go with if I was in Gareth Southgate's shoes. So, we're going to start off with 3 goalkeepers I've selected. Now, maybe I'll start with one on the maybe list here. Nick Pope would have been on my list, but he's having surgery like 3 weeks before the Euros start. And it's only a minor operation, but I don't know whether you want to risk it. Like, do you want to risk it? Yeah, it's a knee surgery, so it could have an effect on the goalkeeper. Knee surgery, 3 weeks before, I think that's cutting it a bit too fine. So I wouldn't select him. I would go with Jordan Pickford. He would be my number 1. And when he plays for England, he doesn't really ever do that bad. He's pretty decent in an England shirt, I think, personally. Next, I go for Dean Henderson. And then I go for Sam Johnstone to replace Nick Pope in the 3 goalkeepers that I've selected. United obviously fought with David De Gea, and he seems right now as if he's the actual number 1 goalkeeper for Manchester United. So that's good. That's impressive. And as for Sam Johnstone, I think he's been pretty good for a West Brom team that did get relegated. I think he's made some really good saves across the season. I think he's good enough, even as a backup goalkeeper. I think he would be good enough for this team. So that's my 3 goalkeepers. We're going with Pickford, Henderson, and Johnstone. Next up, we have got our defenders. I'm going to start on the left-hand side. I think it's 2 pretty obvious choices. Luke Shaw, Ben Chilwell. They've been 2 of the better left-backs in the whole league this season. Luke Shaw definitely probably been the best left-back in the league this season. Chilwell, he struggled at points. He was really good at points. I think they both have the same amount of goal contributions. The wing-backs for this England team is a very positive place, all things considered. So Luke Shaw with 9 caps and Ben Chilwell with 14 caps. That's kind of a decent number of caps. You know, you want experience, and I think kind of 14 caps, that's an established England player. You know, he's been Gareth Southgate's main starting left back has been Ben Chilwell. And depending on what formation we play, obviously if we play a 4-3-3, Luke Shaw at left back, I think he would be comfortable there. But should we play a 3-4-3, I think Ben Chilwell will be more comfortable as a left wing back than maybe Luke Shaw was. He's played there this season. He's contributed a goal or 2, and he's got a few assists as well, which is obviously a modern day fullback. They're expected to get a couple of assists and a couple of goals here and there. And I think both of them have got an assist and maybe even a sneaky goal in them as well. Moving on to the centre backs, I have gone with 3 actual centre backs and 1 who could play centre back. So we've gone Harry Maguire. Yes, he is a doubt for the Europa League final, but if he's fit, you've got to bring him. He's probably England's best centre back, I would say. Alongside him is John Stones. He's been really good this season. A little surprise one, Ben Godfrey from Everton. He is uncapped, so these would be his first caps for England at a major tournament as well. So I think they're the 3 natural centre backs. Obviously, Harry Maguire, he is a must. People were laughing at Gary Neville when he said that Harry Maguire is more important than Harry Kane, but you got to agree with him. You lose Harry Maguire, the defence turns to shite. You lose Harry Kane, you've got other players that can fill in that position quite nicely, actually, quite well. Ben Godfrey's had a good season for Everton. They kind of fell apart nearer the end of the season. You know, they were pushing for European football, and they just kind of seemed to slip just right at the end, which is really unfortunate for them, really unfortunate for Carlo Ancelotti. But overall, I think he's had a good season. Obviously, they did lose 5-0 to Man City yesterday, but overall, I think he's had a good season. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you could bring in Tyrone Mings, for example, Connor Cody if you want a bit more leadership. But I think Ben Godfrey, that kind of not even inexperience, but that first time being for England, you want to impress, you want to do well, and I think that'll really help him out. Next up is the person who could play centre back, but also can play a different position. And again, maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm silly for bringing 3 right backs, because I've gone with Reece James, who I think could also play centre back. He could also play centre mid, which he did so against Aston Villa, and he actually, for those couple of minutes that he was in the midfield against Aston Villa, I think he played really well. He has been playing centre back these past few games, and whoever he's been defending, they haven't really had a sniff of the ball. Jamie Vardy mainly, he kept him quiet in the league game, and he kept him quiet during the FA Cup game as well. So I think he can play centre back. He obviously he's good enough on the ball. He's strong enough. He's quick enough. He's got all the attributes to play there. He's even got all the attributes playing centre midfield. But the main reason I wanted to bring Reece James, because I think he's had an incredible season. He's got 6 caps for England. A lot of them have come very recently, so he's going to be used to the squad. I did say I brought 3 right backs. The other which is being Trent Alexander-Arnold. Not been the best overall this season, but these past kind of 5 or 6 games when Liverpool needed the win, he stepped up and he was counted and he played really well. And you just can't not bring him, because he is probably on his day the best right back in the league. But him whipping in those crosses to Harry Kane, even Reece James whipping in his crosses to Harry Kane, it'll be incredible. It'll be incredible to watch. He'll get the golden boot if he gets onto even half of the crosses that they whip him. And the unexpected one I brought was Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Now, he's been one of the best right backs this season defensively. Let's say we're coming up against France, right? You've got Kylian Mbappe on that left-hand side. I would rather have Aaron Wan-Bissaka against him and lose a slight attacking threat down that right-hand side if it meant that Wan-Bissaka was on the pitch and was just tracking Kylian Mbappe, because he's quick enough. Wan-Bissaka is not slow. He's got a bit of pace to him. He's brilliant, and I think he could do it. So I think bringing that just defensive option for the right back position would really help us out in those big games where, in a game we're expected to win, we're expected to dominate, play Trent Alexander-Arnold, play Reece James. But in those games where they've got a tricky winger that's going to be difficult maybe for a Trent to deal with, rely on Reece James, rely on Wan-Bissaka, and they should have you. They should back you up, really. They should. So that's my defence. We've gone Luke Shaw, Ben Chilwell as the 2 left backs, Harry Maguire, John Stones, Ben Godfrey as the 3 natural centre backs, Reece James playing as maybe a centre back, maybe a right back, maybe even a midfielder. We've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka playing as a right back and Trent Alexander-Arnold playing as a right back. Moving on to the midfielders though. So the 2 I think should come is Declan Rice. Incredible. He's got him and the West Ham boys should be proud of themselves. They've got themselves Europa League football. He is on the list of a lot of big teams. He's got a praise from some of the best managers in the world. Declan Rice is a really, really good footballer. And again, he could slot in at centre-back. Should any kind of injuries happen, he's got that kind of ability to play centre-back as well. But holding position in that midfield, he can ping balls out wide. The next one, which is Calvin Phillips, him and his Leeds boys. Another one. Him and the Leeds boys should be proud of themselves as well. He's very, very good. And I think he's another one who should be going on. He's another one who probably will be in Gareth Southgate's team as well as mine. Next up is a Chelsea boy. It's probably my favourite player right now. It's Mason Mount. Chelsea's player of the year. He's been really, really good. And again, another thing about Mason Mount, he can play centre midfielder. He can play as an attacking midfielder if you want. You can put him out wide. He's not quite as good out wide, but you can still do a job out there. And that's just the kind of player Mason Mount is. He'll do a job wherever you put him. So I think you need that kind of player. He won't stop running. He'll give you the full 90. And I think that's really important, especially he'll press for days. He'll press for days. And I think that's really important. Obviously, if we go 1-0 down, we want the ball. We want players pressing. I think Mason Mount will be really important to us winning the ball back a lot. Same with Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips. When they play, they'll win us the ball back a lot. They'll just thrive in the team. Next up is Jude Bellingham from Borussia Dortmund. I would say Jude Bellingham is England's best young talent. He's only 17, and he's putting in the performance against Manchester City in the Champions League, both legs. They were really good, especially considering his age, considering the kind of occasion and everything all combined. People were laughing when Birmingham retired that number 22 shirt, but you can see why now. You can see why, and I think he should be on the plane. Maybe not even to start, but personally, I think he is good enough. If you're good enough, you're old enough. That's the old saying. Yeah, I think he's good enough, and I think he should be on the plane. Next up, we've got some more central midfielders, and then we've got a little kind of a winger / midfielder. So next up, we've got James Ward-Prowse from Southampton. Set pieces. Southampton, they've not been the best this season. Remember, they were top of the league at one point, and then they just fell. They kept falling. They had another 9-0 loss this season. But overall, I'm a fan of James Ward-Prowse. And again, it's another captain. He captains Southampton. So already we've got quite a few captains. We've got Harry Maguire, who's captain for Man United. Declan Rice, who's captain for West Ham. Then we've got James Ward-Prowse, who's captain for Southampton. We've got a few more captains coming down the list. So yeah, if you've got a team full of captains, full of leaders, they're just going to push everyone a little bit more than maybe someone who's not the captain would. But yeah, set piece deliveries. You get him on free kicks. You get him on corners. Him and Trent whipping in those corners, whipping in those free kicks. We'll have the record for the most set pieces scored in a tournament. But I think he should be in. I think he's good enough. And the other kind of options in the midfield are a bit too similar to one another. And you'll kind of get to that when we get to the maybe list. You'll kind of understand what I'm saying there. Another captain. Another one very similar to Harry Maguire. He might not make it, but if he's fit, you've got to bring him. It's Jordan Henderson, another captain. As I said, another leader. Even if he's not fully fit for the first few games, you bring him because it will just bring something to the squad. In training, in just hanging out in the off time, he'll just bring something. Obviously, he's got 58 caps for England, so he's going to be one of the more experienced players at the tournament for us, if he does come. He is the most capped midfielder that I've selected, and I just think you've got to bring... If you can bring him, you've got to bring him, because he is that good. So next up is a player who's had an incredible, and I mean incredible, end to the season. The first half, I don't even know if he played, but it's Jesse Lingard from West Ham. Another player key in helping them get to European football. Another player who just, when he gets going, he starts playing really, really, really well. Maybe it's a confidence thing. Maybe it's just, I think it's just a confidence thing. And I think he's another one. He's had 27 caps for England. So that for those who don't have quite as many caps, you can take him under his wing. He's played at the World Cup. He's scored at the World Cup. And I just think having that experience is vital, really. He'll help out. He's known to the squad as well. You know, the squad know him. And then the final midfielder I'm bringing, another captain. It is Super Jack Grealish. And I've put him in the midfield section. Maybe he could go in the attackers section. But, you know, he can play in that midfield. He can play on that left-hand side. He can play all over. You give him the ball, let him run, let him create chances. He'll win your free kicks. Those free kicks can be put in by Trent, put in by James Ward-Prowse. And I think he's got to go. He's come back. I think he's played 3 games at the end of the season since his injury. He's got his fitness back. He's one of the most, I'd say maybe one of the most naturally talented players in the England squad. I think, personally. Yeah, you give him the ball and you let him run. You let him do whatever he wants and he'll produce something magic for you. And I think that's vital. So that's the midfield. We've gone for Declan Rice, Calvin Phillips, Mason Mount, Jude Bellingham, James Ward-Prowse, Jordan Henderson, Jesse Lingard, and Jack Grealish. Moving on to the attackers, we have got 7 attackers. Combination of wingers and strikers. And a couple of wingers who could play striker. Now let's start with the obvious. Harry Kane, top goal scorer, top assister. Looks like he might be leaving Spurs. He's got 53 caps for England. He's the highest scoring player for England that is currently playing. He looks like he's going to break the Premier League record. He looks like he's going to break the England record. He's, for me personally, the best striker in the world. I would rate Harry Kane higher than I rate Lewandowski. Just personal opinion. He's got to go. He's got to captain the squad. He's got to get the golden boot, and he's going to lift the trophy above his head. That's simple. I don't think I need to explain Harry Kane being in the squad, because I think everyone would put him in the squad. Next up is a controversial one slightly. So I've seen other kind of videos and they've brought other players. I would bring Ollie Watkins over Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and it's just for the fact that Calvert-Lewin and Harry Kane are a bit too similar for my liking. If you're playing a team and Harry Kane's not working, subbing Harry Kane off and bringing Calvert-Lewin on, that's just going to be the same problem. But if you sub off Harry Kane and bring on Ollie Watkins, very similar to what I said about Mason Mount, he will press, he will run, he will go to every ball, and he will fight for it, and he will try and press and get the ball, and he just doesn't stop. Every game I've watched from Aston Villa this season, he just does not stop running, and I think he should be in the squad just because he offers something different to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. The next few are kind of givens, like anyone who have them in the squad. So that's Jadon Sancho, another incredible season for Borussia Dortmund. It started off a bit slow, but he picked it up as he always does. Looks like he may be on the move from Dortmund to the Premier League. So it'll be interesting to see if he can keep those kind of numbers up, moving to a more difficult league. Yeah, I said it. So yeah, Jadon Sancho, he's a must. He's a given. Phil Foden, incredible numbers this season. In a Man City team, he's kind of... He's so good. It's just crazy how good he is for how young he is. 20 days older... I'm 20 days older than him. And I'm making this video. He's going to be in the actual squad. But he's scored 9 goals. He's got 5 assists. Personally, I would start him. I would make him a starter. That's how good I think he's been. Next up is Marcus Rashford. I think Marcus Rashford's had a very good season this season as well. On and off the pitch, you could say. 11 goals, 9 assists in the Premier League. Rashford's... If you start Phil Foden and Jadon Sancho, right, they'll bamboozle the defence with their dribbling. They'll tire him out. Then you bring on Rashford. And Rashford will just run. He'll just run. And he just won't be able to keep up because he's one of the quickest players, I think, in the Premier League. He's got a good finish on him. And I think having him come off the bench, even starting some games, would be incredible. And it'll be vital. Vital to the way that maybe we finish off some games. Raheem Sterling, he has got 61 caps for England. That is, I think, the most in the squad that I've selected. And I think that's the main reason why. He's got that experience. He's played at multiple international competitions. Maybe not had the best season for his standards in comparison to other seasons that he's had under Pep. Obviously, that experience that he has will rub off onto the likes of Phil Foden, onto other players who haven't played at these tournaments. Another player I'm about to mention. And it should really help them out. And then my final attacker, maybe a controversial one, Mason Greenwood. I think now that we've got the 26-man squad, Mason Greenwood should be in this team. And I think it's important, again, that he gets this experience at a young age. I think if he's going to be an England international, he is going to play for England at a top level. And he's going to be... What I said about Jude Bellingham being England's best youngster, he's right up there. Him, Phil Foden, they're right up there as being the best. The final attackers, as I'll go back through them, were Harry Kane, Ollie Watkins, Jadon Sancho, Raheem Sterling, Phil Foden, Marcus Rashford, and Mason Greenwood. But to end off the video, I will go with my England squad. I will go with a 3-4-3. Pickford in goal. Reece James right centre back. John Stones centre back. Harry Maguire left centre back. Harry Maguire likes a little dribble down that left hand side. I go with Trent as a right wing back. Ben Chilwell as a left wing back. Mason Mount and Declan Rice in the midfield. Jadon Sancho and Phil Foden as the two wingers with Harry Kane up top. And then obviously everyone else on the bench. I don't know how many substitutes we get at the Euros, if it's 5, if it's just a 3. But I think it should be good. It should be fun. We've got a really, really strong team no matter who goes. And yeah, as I said, it should be really fun to see what happens this summer. And come on, England. Bring it home.